to the Estheticians Are Doing More podcast with Brittany Hageman, episode number 182. Before we get started today, I want to tell you about my free workshop I have coming up Wednesday, January 8th. The registration is now open, and I'm going to be teaching about the 5 systems that I recommend you having in your business to double your business in 2025. So the way my workshops are structured, if you've never been to them before, is the first 20 or so minutes I will teach on whatever topic that I am teaching on. So that will be the 5 systems. And then the last half an hour, I try to leave for coaching. So the workshop itself is 1 hour, and you get to come on live and ask any questions that you want, anything you want, you need help with. So it's totally free. You can register using the link in my show notes of today's episode. And the workshops are just a lot of fun. And for some reason, if you can't make it, again, it's Wednesday, January 8th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For some reason you can't make it, please register. It's the only way you get the recording. And so then I will email out the recording probably the next day. Just kind of depends on childcare that day. But most likely we'll go out the next day. So if you have any questions, you can always DM me or email me at info@blhbeauty.com. And with that, on to today's episode. Happy Monday. Happy last podcast of 2024. This podcast, if you're listening to it live, we are just 2 days left in this year. And I don't know about you, I'm ready for a new year. 2024 was a much better year for me than 2023. And not only my business, but personally as well. And so I had a pretty good year. But I do love a new year. I just got a new planner that I've never used this kind of planner before. It's like next to me if you're watching the video. And I'm just geeking out over it and how excited I am. And so I love all of those things. And my daughter has been on break and my husband has been home. And it's just been a really good time for my family to kind of relax and reset. And I fully took a week off work this last week. And so that has been really nice as well. And I'm excited to get back to work on Monday. So I am doing this episode today. It's going to be a couple different things we're going to talk about, kind of a wrap up end of the year conversation. And the first thing I want to do is share my word of the year. If you know, I like to have a word of the year, and my 2024 word of the year was prosper. And I feel like it was a prosperous year. Not as prosperous as I'd hoped, but it definitely had some much more prosper than 2023. And I felt like my business has been growing and I've had more time. Like I looked at prosper as like a time thing and like more of myself prospering. And I still feel like I have a lot of personal stuff that I'm trying to work on and figure out, but it definitely was the step in the right direction. And I'm really grateful for that. And I wanted to kind of continue that energy for 2025. And I've kind of kicked around some different ideas. And the one I've stuck with is probably not a word you hear or a word of the year a lot, but I heard it described on like an article, the mom from Bluey. I was like, I want to be described that way. I don't know if you know Bluey, it's a cartoon for little kids. And the word is inflappable. And inflappable, it means like just like not easily bothered, just kind of chill. And I don't know if people would describe me as that. I know my husband wouldn't describe me as that. Maybe you would because you know me professionally, but I want to just not be bothered easily and just be more chill. And if you've listened to my postpartum episode where I shared my postpartum journey, you know that was not a chill time of my life. And this last year has been so much more chill as a parent. So I just want to kind of continue that energy of just like good, you know, not like super crazy high energy, but just like happy, kind of content and not really like overly upset or excited in either way. Even though I have a lot of personal and business goals this year, but I think one of the things that I see, that I've experienced, and I see with my clients, my esthetician business owner clients, is that sometimes when we get really excited about ideas, we like just kind of go full bore, and then we burn out, and then it's hard to get going again. And I think it's much more useful, even though maybe not as exciting, to just kind of have the goal and just chip away at it. And so I'm trying to do that because I have a goal that I'm very excited about, but I can see myself kind of pushing myself too quickly in it. So I think this is a good way to kind of keep me in check for the year and, be a little bit more logical with different things I'm trying to do. I want you to think about 2024. I want you to do like a little exercise, and I want you to think about what went right in your business, what didn't go so great, and what you want to focus on in 2025. I do this with my clients much more extensively, and we actually make a plan and figure out exactly what we want to change and how we want to change it. But you can do that also for yourself. And I think this is a really important exercise to do because our brains are going to only focus on what went wrong. Like you could have hit your financial goals, but you have a lot of drama about why it still wasn't enough, or it wasn't good enough, or it didn't feel like it should have felt, or lots of things that could have made you kind of still not feel that excited about what you have accomplished. Even if you didn't accomplish the financial goals you did accomplish something in 2024. Even if you just opened a business, that's accomplishing something. Even if you aren't making that much money in your business, or you've made a ton of money in your business and you don't keep any of it. Again, it's really easy to focus on, well, I haven't kept any of the money, or I'm not really making any money. And those are things you need to solve. Like, for sure, both of those things not sustainable. Long term, you will burn out. You need to make money that you can keep, not just goes into your business and goes right back out. But you also have to be proud of yourself for what you did to create what you've done. And it's really easy to skip this. And I try to remind my clients of this regularly, and then my podcast audience annually. And so we did this last year, if you've been listening for a year. And I really just want you to really look at little things. And it can be in your personal life as well. I think it's important to do both. But little things that you've done, that you've worked really hard at, that has gone well. And if you're a type A personality, if you're someone who loves to achieve things, this is going to be very hard for you. But you can even look at it as you have 10 really happy clients. Do you want 30 clients? Yes. But right now you have 10 really happy clients. Or maybe you have 30 clients, but not all of them are buying product, and that's something that you want to change for 2025. But you have 30 clients that come for facials every month and are super happy, or come for a Brazilian or whatever. And I really want you to think about that and what went well with those clients and what is going well with those clients, and what you can attribute to your own hard work. Because you may have a story like, well, I'm, working really hard at 30 clients and I'm not actually keeping any of the money. And so you have this story that you're bad at business, or you're bad at this, or, all these things. And it may just not be true. You may just need to change some things in your business plan, change the way you structure your business and how you do certain things. You might actually be really good at business. It's just you missed a couple of things. You just don't see it. But you're great at your service. People they come for you every month for the Brazilian, or they come every month for their facial or whatever. And you're really great at what you do. And that is one of the hardest parts. So be proud of that. And I know when the money does not equal the work that you put in, is really hard to be proud of yourself. I've experienced this countless times in my business. In both businesses, honestly, Matt. When I had my business in San Diego and I worked as an esthetician, and in this business when I consult other estheticians, and sometimes you're working harder than the money that you're making, and that is a hard thing to deal with mentally, because in a job where you get paid, you work really hard and you get paid. It doesn't always happen with businesses. And so you have to focus on the other things that are indicating that it's working and it's going to continue to work. And maybe you have to make some adjustments. Maybe you have to do some things different in 2025. That's where the reflection is. But we're not reflecting as like something's wrong with you. You're bad at it. You don't know what you're doing. Thinking those things are not going to help you make those adjustments and changes. If you haven't been selling skincare and you are booked, but you haven't been selling skincare and you know that is what needs to change, like, you're like, Brittany, I don't need to do reflection. I know. It's really easy to beat yourself up that like you're not good at it and this and that, and have like a lot of drama around it, versus like, this was the story. We're going to change it. And these are the things I'm going to do to change it so that next year it's different. And if it takes longer than I thought it was going to take, or it's going to be a different journey than I expected to, it's okay, because this is part of it. If you live like in San Diego is a very transient community. I always had clients moving. Always, 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 always. Every month I had like 3 or 4 clients that moved. It just was like, people were students and they come in and they get their degree and then they leave and whatever. And so it's easy it would have been easy for me to look at my retention and say it was low because I kept having to get new clients. But I looked at the success. Like, those clients usually were clear. They didn't need to come every month, even for appointments. They happily bought their products online from me. They still buy some other products from me 5-6 years later, online from me. And so I could have looked at it and said I have a poor retention because people are moving a lot. But I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it as like, every month I have an opportunity to make more money with more clients, new people. And so you have to also look and like, what's really happening and has happened, and is that actually a problem? I think we have a perception, this is something I've noticed with myself and with other estheticians and business owners, as it would be, is that we have this perception that if we have to market, that means our business is not succeeding. And I will tell you, my clients that all double their business in 2024 have had their foot on the marketing pedal the entire time. They never let up. Made $15,000 months, they still are marketing. It's not now I don't have to do this because I have the money. I'm still doing this, even though I have more money than I ever had before in my business. And so I think sometimes we see like plateau, like, no. I think sometimes we see like in our head, like, once I get to X, then I won't have to deal with Y anymore. And once I get fully booked, I don't have to market anymore. That's not true. Once I get to making $12,000 a month, I don't have to worry about money anymore. That's not true. You have more expenses. You may have gotten to $12,000 a month by doing facials only, not selling skincare. That's not sustainable. That's a hard, long month of making. You work really hard if you're making $12,000 a month solely on facials. So it's crazy hard. And so you may have these ideas of, if you get to this certain point, that this will be different. And maybe you've experienced that this year. You were like, I thought if I started making $8,000 consistently, I could kind of just chill. And you're like, no, it's actually way more work than I thought it was going to be. And $8,000 a month means that many more clients and that many more people needing me and needing to reschedule and book, and they need product or whatever, you know? And so you're like, I thought this was going to be like more money, less work. And it's like more money and more work. So I want you to just like try to look at it as a business owner, not a person who owns the business. Like, just looking at it as like, what is great? And really focus on that. And then what has not been great? And is that because I have to change a system in my business? Which is one of the things we'll be talking about next week. Or is it because I need to change my mindset on it and my expectation that I think making $12,000 a month, I should be able to just spend money no matter what, you know, like, what is really happening for you? I've had a number of clients that really liked to have a slim schedule of clients, and I totally get it. Meaning they don't want to work weekends, they don't want to work nights. Probably had about 5 clients that have had to be like, okay, I have to work Saturday and Sunday and evenings to make my goals financially. And that's a hard thing to come to terms with, especially if you had gotten used to not working those hours because your business was able to do that. Like, I never worked weekends as an esthetician because I worked for somebody else who worked weekends, and I got just the nights and she worked days. I only got weekday nights. So when I opened my own business, I had Saturdays and Sundays, but then I also was doing makeup. And so I had to make the decision of, do I want to just do makeup really early in the morning on Saturday and Sunday for brides and wedding parties, and then just go home and rest, which I had been doing the whole year before? Or do I want to go in and get some esthetician clients? And I did that, and it was really hard. It was really hard. I was really tired. But these are hard decisions to make. So that may be something that's not working, is like the way that your hours are. Your pricing. You're booked and you're not making any money because your prices are way too low. So, but I want this exercise to mostly be being proud of yourself. Because I know that if you feel good about yourself, it's much easier to push forward and take that energy and go versus beating yourself up, being hard on yourself. It's really hard to be like, okay, let's go. It's a lot harder to have that excitement and energy going into a new year, especially coming off of December, which was probably very long days for you and you're very tired. I hope you got some time off and took time off. I remember December being an esthetician business owner being like the worst and the best month in the same month because it's so much money and you're so exhausted. I remember feeling that way. I remember saying like, I don't want to work December anymore. I don't care. The money's too much work. It's just crazy, because people are just wanting to get in, for Christmas. And then I know the fear you may have is January is going to come. It's going to be slow. So there's a lot going on. But I can tell you right now, the more positive you can feel about yourself and what you've accomplished, the easier it will be to do whatever you need to do in January to grow your business more. So I really want you to reflect on all the good and how proud you are of yourself of doing this, and recognize that owning a business is not for the faint of heart. It seems very easy. Maybe it doesn't before you open it, but it seems like people, I think they can do it and they can't, because it requires so many different skills than just being a great esthetician. And so if you are doing it, congratulations. That is incredible. You're not just showing up and doing your job and going home. You're doing so much more than that. And it takes a lot of mental agility, and it takes a lot of perseverance and drive and grit. And it also takes a lot of high-level planning and figuring things out that people tend to give up on. This is something that I have seen is people are great estheticians, they open their business, they have people following them or whatever, they grow their clientele faster than they thought, but they don't really know how they grew their clientele. Their clientele doesn't really buy products because part of growing them, like that whole thing was that they don't buy products, and so then like they don't want their clients to leave. They to the point of complete burnout because they're working so hard to make money. Then they end up quitting their business because they can't keep working those hours to make that money, and they have to make that money in order to even pay themselves anything because they don't have any other income of products or anything else. And so they're like, well, I don't know how to not do this. So they just burnout and they just quit. Get really resentful with their clients and it's like, it was too hard. It's too hard. It is really hard. But if you are in business, you know that it's not just an accident this all happened and just like luck, just like a fluke. You did things to create that. And if you can identify that and create those systems again and again in your business, and then create the systems that you don't have to make your business more sustainable, then you can make money and keep money and you don't feel like you're always just pushing yourself month to month. And I want to help you do that. So come to my free systems workshop. I'm going to teach you about the systems that you need that you may not have, or you may have already, which is great, to double your business in 2025. I cannot wait. It's going to be such a fun workshop. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't done so already, please leave me a review. I really appreciate that. It goes a long way. I am so grateful for you because I think about my year in this business. I feel like my audience has grown considerably, which was a goal of mine, and has been so incredible meeting so many new estheticians. I've done dozens of discovery calls this year, more than I've ever done in my career, and met so many great estheticians that not all of them are working with me currently. Maybe they will in the future. I don't know. But it has been such a great experience just talking to people and learning things about people's businesses. And I just want to tell you, like, everyone struggles with the same things. Like, I can tell you that for certain from all my discovery calls. That has been so much fun. This podcast has grown considerably as well. And so if you're a newer listener, thank you so much for joining here in 2024. And if you've been with me since 2021, thank you. My gosh, what an honor, really, for me to have you in my life like that. And I am really, really, really grateful that I get to do what I get to do. And I love working with my clients. It doesn't really feel like work, honestly. It just feels like a lot of fun. So helping people solve their problems in their business and helping people feel better about themselves and their business. And it feels like a gift that I get to do. So thank you for being here, supporting me in any way that you have. It has been such a great year for me. And I'm really excited for 2025 and seeing what's going to happen. And that's it. Have a fantastic and safe new year. And I'll see you next year. Bye for now.